Hi, it's the Chappiness Guide. Welcome to today's episode of Vestibular Talks. Today's extremely awesome and special guest is Lauren. I call her my beautiful twinsy on Instagram because we are so much alike in many different ways, or in many similar ways, I should say. She's also a radio personality. Yes, she's a radio personality. She's also a Vira ambassador, and she's also one of the most gentle, charismatic, and alive spirits that I've had the pleasure to meet online. She's here with us to share her journey with her vestibular condition and to talk to us a little bit about how everything began and how she's doing right now. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Find your happiness, guys. All right, Lauren, how are you today?
How are you? I'm doing okay.
Thank you for being part of this episode of Vestibular Talks. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me.
Thanks for letting me come on here.
All right, so you are a person that I've known for a little while now on Instagram. You are charismatic, you're full of joy, you're so alive, and people that get to see that wouldn't even start to imagine that you're dealing with such a difficult condition as it is. Is your diagnosis vestibular migraines, or what is it?
Yeah, specific migraine. I think I have triple PD as well, but
Yes.
haven't gotten that thing. But yeah, it's vestibular migraine.
Yeah, they usually are fairly tied
Yeah.
together, PPPD and vestibular migraines. So people that see you on Instagram, because you're so full of joy, you're constantly laughing, you're making like good, happy posts, people wouldn't even understand what it is to feel with a condition like this. So do you mind telling us a little bit about who you are, about your journey, and how everything began?
Okay, so who I am. I'm Lauren. I live in New Jersey. I work on the radio. I do that part time. I'm a radio DJ. I actually had to leave my full time job because of this. Um, yeah, I've been dealing with like vestibular issues since I'd say like 2015, 2016. I started noticing them, and I've always kind of had like a little bit of a difficult time driving. Like I don't, and I think there was like something was like related with that, like with my eyes, my ears, my brain. Like I knew it was more than just this is anxiety.
Yeah.
But so I had tests done back in 2016. Doctor was like, oh, maybe it's a virus. Did a little bit of home vestibular therapy. Over time, it got better. The only symptom I was feeling at that time was like it was a little bit of a rocky feeling and like just off balance, but that's all I had. So like dealt with that basically went away, but there was always like a little bit of a lingering feeling in the background, and it was just coming, like, just I knew something wasn't right.
Yeah.
And um like then I ended up at this job, like there's a new casino here in Atlantic City. I had this great entertainment job, running around having any trigger you can really think of possible, and I felt the best I ever felt. So I didn't even know that I was dealing with anything. Then I got laid off. The next day I find out my aunt has pancreatic cancer. uh, a couple months later, uh, just the symptoms started coming back up again, coming back up and coming back up and coming back up. So for about a year, I was feeling like something was not right again. So went back to my doctor. He's like, I don't know what to tell you at this point, basically. And I could just feel my body, like I knew something was wrong. And like I was drinking a lot to try to make it feel better, because when I drink, it's a suppressant. So you drink, for me at least, and it makes me feel normal. It's really messed up. Obviously I haven't really been drinking now, but yeah, so I'm doing that a lot. and yeah, like it was, yeah, this constant cycle of nonsense, and then basically at the end of September, I woke up that week. That week, I went out to eat with my friend, and I think I had like some mahi tuna thing. I don't even eat, like, I'm not even like a seafood person. I had this like mahi thing, I don't know, with like all this soy sauce and stuff on it. I was like, oh yeah, let me try it. And I ate it. I had a few drinks. I come home the next morning. I woke up and I felt like I was like, just, I didn't know it was wrong. So I was like, maybe I got food poisoning. Maybe I don't know. So then like the next week came, and like I was driving to work, and I literally, at this point, I was working like 1 minute down the road. I was having like the most severe anxiety panic while driving. I'm like, what is going on? It's down, like, my literally like a minute and a half to get to work. Like this is not making any sense.
Yeah.
So then, I that following week, like I had to leave work. I had like a weird dizzy thing, and then like I woke up. I went back to the doctor. He gave me meclizine. Okay, he
Yeah.
gives me meclizine, and I'm like, I don't know about this. I'm scared of pills. Anyway, I take it. And then the next day I woke up and life was a disaster.
Yeah.
Coincidence, the meclizine, but yeah. Then I woke up. Then I woke up in September, and it looked like I was in like a weird like it felt like I was what I would think to be on a million drugs.
Yes, yes, yeah, and then,
Yeah.
and you get it, like you get it because it's that's
Oh,
what I tell people. Like I was never when I was young, yeah, I tried weed, I smoked weed a
yeah,
couple of times. I even tried a couple of those edibles,
yeah.
and I never really been into drugs. Only that's the only thing that I tried, and be having these symptoms reminded me of that only 1,000 times worse. Like that sensation that you're like having this out of body experience. You're
Yes.
having like a panic attack the whole time. Like you're
Oh,
constantly anxious. Your eyes seem not to focus on anything. Like your eyes seem loopy and this dizziness. Like it's crazy to explain.
it was so weird. Like I woke up in the middle of the night, kind of going like this. So it's like, you got me.
Yeah.
Woke back up and got up like I was on a banana peel underneath. Like, you see.
Yeah. It's so trippy. It's so trippy.
I thought I had to go to the ER. Didn't know what to do. My mom, took my blood pressure. She's like, I think you're having a panic attack. I'm like, it felt like my nervous system was on straight fire.
Yes. Yes. It's and people don't understand it because unless you've lived it, you wouldn't be able to even relate to how
No.
strange these symptoms are. Like they make zero sense. So what happens? Okay, so your mom checked your blood pressure. You wanted to go to the ER, and how did it go from there? Like what happened after?
So we don't go to the ER. Instead, I'm literally like in a ball downstairs, like in the corner. Like somehow I got downstairs and was just sitting there, and I'm like, okay, like, what are we gonna do? And she's like trying to give me tea, trying to give me trying to, and I'm like, I just, I'm freaked out, and I'm like, oh, and mind you, we got the COVID, we got the pandemic going on, so I'm like, I'm not going in a hospital right now, like this is not happening.
Yeah,
No, I'm not. No, 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 no. So
yeah,
that
okay.
freaked me out, and we kind of just, I think I might have took. Yeah, I think I took some Benadryl. I think
Uh-huh.
I took Benadryl because I had that. I called the doctor that used to treat me, or who I was seeing for a while, and he told me to get on the floor and do my exercises. Okay, I'm like, look, buddy, we have real vertigo going on now. I'm not getting on the floor. I'm like, can you please just give me like something, a suppressant. I'm not a drug addict. I'm not gonna abuse these drugs. Just give me something. I don't know what to tell you. Boom, off the phone.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
It
it's
until we went to someone else who was really nasty to me. Uh, yeah, and then the next day we went to someone else who ended up giving me Valium, misdiagnosed me, but at least I had some drugs.
yeah.
I had
It
something to
helps.
help me.
Like they do suppress it a little bit. They do like
Yeah,
minimize the symptoms. Yeah,
yeah. So it was after that I literally went back. I went to like 10 different doctors.
yeah,
It was yeah. I think I actually counted like it might have been like 13 if you combined the two vestibular therapists that said one said it was BPPV and one said it absolutely wasn't.
yeah. It's they
You know,
contradict each other. Yeah, I know. I lived through the same.
so
So
many people, so many like, and so much struggling of not having any help, like
yeah,
just until a couple months ago, really.
yeah, Lauren. One of the things that happened to me was that I started getting into Google. I started googling the symptoms.
Yeah,
I was like, "What the hell is happening to me? I need
yeah,
to find out what's going on." Because, like you, many doctors were like, "Oh, this is anxiety. Oh, you're just having a
yeah,
panic attack. Oh, you're just depressed." And I'm like, "What?" So,
yeah.
like, I said, I'm gonna have to figure out this by myself. So I went to Google, found all these crazy stories about vestibular
Yeah.
conditions, and I was like, "What the hell is a vestibular?" So I started learning more about it. How do you come to find out the vestibular diagnosis and then find the people on Instagram that started talking about it?
Well, I actually had stuff saved on my phone prior to getting hit with this. I knew I had this. I told my doctor I had this. He said, "No, no, you don't. You don't have headaches." I said, "It doesn't matter." Like, and I wasn't even having all these crazy symptoms yet. I just knew that I was off all the time. I was like,
Yeah,
this is not making sense. This isn't
yeah,
a virus. Has been sticking around for too long, and this is weird. Um, so it was basically me just me googling stuff for a while, and I would just always save stuff on my phone, and for a couple of years, honestly, and
yeah.
then like 2 weeks before I got hit, I was like, I know I have this thing, and then it went boom.
Yeah, it exploded. And when it explodes, it changes our lives 180 degrees. Like you get flipped upside down completely because like everything changes. Your social life, your professional life, as you said, you couldn't work anymore. Your family life, because your family doesn't know how to deal with it. Like they are like, what the heck is happening?
It's like,
Yeah,
what's going on? And it's just I forgot. I was gonna say something, but I forgot. There's that brain fog.
okay, yeah, yeah. So now one of the biggest symptoms that I had or have is, well, two actually: the dizziness, and then the fact that if I try to watch TV, my eyes
Oh,
can handle, like they can focus. They are like all over the place, and I
yeah.
start getting motion sickness. What about you? What are like the main symptoms that you could identify?
Mine's the dizziness. Well, you can describe dizzy as so many different ways.
Yeah,
The tilting, the rocking, the swaying, the flipping, feeling like you're flipping, falling,
falling. Yeah,
like things that I never thought that were like were imaginable. Like spinning. So yeah, every type of dizziness you can think of. The eye thing. Like I was trying to watch a movie a couple days ago, and that was happening to me. Like I definitely had like a little mini migraine attack from it. Like I don't know. It was my eyes were doing the same thing.
yeah.
It's hard, to watch stuff like unless it's very neutral. Like there's
Very
not really
mild.
going
Yeah,
on. Yeah. Like I can't like what else we got? Being in the car, all the sensory overload,
oh
absolutely get it. Forget it.
yeah,
Just being out, like it's that dream world,
yeah.
like it's like just so it's like that dizziness and anxiety looping circle thing with the light sensitivity and the common ones all combined, but the dizziness has been the worst one, but I haven't had any spitting vertigo, knock on wood,
Yeah,
attack,
yeah,
in a while since I've gotten on some medicine. So praise God.
yeah. Amen. And the medication does help, and it's a very individual journey when it comes to medication because many of us, I much like you, I was at the beginning for 9 months. I was like, no, I don't want to take pills. Like I know
Yeah,
my body and I know that I'm very sensitive to anything. Like I can even eat a Tic Tac and get like freaking side effects from it. So I'm not gonna take medicine. So for 9 months, I tough it out, but eventually I had to, like I couldn't keep living like this.
yeah,
So thankfully, I found something that does help me, but it's not the case for everybody else. Some people, they don't do well in the medication. Others, the doses might be too high, so their symptoms are actually worse because the medication is so high. Other ones, the dosage is too small, so they don't see any benefit of it. So it's a very, as you know, a very individual journey because we know our bodies better than anybody else. So we know what's good for us and what's not good for us. So that's why, tell us a little about the medication so far for you. Like, what kind of improvements have you noticed?
yeah. Like, well, the first medication I was on, like, just saying, like, did not help at all. So totally agree with, it's trial and error with things. Improvement wise, it's definitely calmed the anxiety a little bit. Still anxious. I'm anxious sitting here right now, like, just kind of when it's a lot of sitting still is hard for me. So that's why I'm kind of sitting like in the corner. Like, you probably can't tell, but I'm sitting in the corner of my room, like kind of near like on my bed. That's where I'm sitting because I feel like if I sit on like a chair out in the open, that space just is like, what? Oh, something fell. So it's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's calmed, it's definitely calmed my dizzy a lot. I'm having less like attacks.
Yeah.
I get like that ear pain, my migraines in my ear. So
Yeah.
I get that, and I'm getting like less of that. So it's definitely allowing me to get more out into the world when up until, this started in September, up until I'm going to say like May, I was barely leaving my house. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't even walk to my mailbox.
Yeah. I
It's like
completely.
I had to be dragged out to the house. The only time I'd leave my house would be to go to my boyfriend's house, who's 5 minutes away, and to go to the radio station and somehow do that, like
Yeah,
twice a week.
that's
And
a
then,
tough one. So good on you that
yeah,
you build the courage to do it because it's not easy to have all that stimuli coming
uh,
at once. Yeah, it's so
yeah.
good.
Oof. There's this one room there, and like it's like these padded walls and this fluorescent light, and I literally, you've seen it, and I'm like, I can't, and I look at the wall and it just
It
shimmers
moves. It
and
moves.
it's
I know.
shimmering, and I'm like, oh my
Yes,
god.
I know. I get you. Especially when I look at curtains or carpet that has
Yeah,
like patterns, like shit moves. Like shit
move.
moves.
Right now I'm looking at this towel and it's going.
Yeah, yeah, no, I completely, and it's so hard because we have to keep fighting our brain to tell it, hey, I know you're seeing this weird, crazy thing in the background, but ignore it. Like
Ignore it,
it's okay.
ignore it. And lately I've been seeing this oh, this one's weird. Like, aside from the shimmering object thing, I'm now seeing when it's cloudy out, I'm seeing like a little bit of like a visual snow, like it's looking like it's raining, snowing. And I'm seeing it in the house when it's certain lighting. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I guess it's, Christmas all year round. So I've been
Yeah,
watching Christmas movies like for months now.
it's like, yeah, it's so trippy. Like it's so hard to explain. You
Trippy.
men you mentioned something that I was like, that's curious because it happens to me too, and not many people mention it. You said your ear. When I know I'm having an episode, sometimes I hear like it's almost like my ear pops, or I feel it full, and then it's like a beep,
Ah,
and then I feel a weird muffle something in my
yeah.
ear. What do you feel? What is it like to you?
Sometimes I get like The thing that I get confused about sometimes, well, now as time's going on, I'm realizing when I'm having episodes versus when I'm just having weird symptoms in between. Like the ear pain just comes and goes. Like it will be like I'm getting like a rent, like a wrench going, right, like just no noise, just but like a turn, like
Okay.
turning in my ear, like a hard, like I don't know, like someone's tightening my ear, like a, yeah, and ugh, and like so that comes and goes, and I don't like that. But the medicines has, I think, been helping that. But like, I know I'm gonna regret saying this. Knock on wood. I think I'd rather have pain than be dizzy.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Like it's
well,
all bad. It's all bad, but there's something about the dizzy because I'll be like, all right, fine, I'll accept the ear pain. Fine, I'll accept this weird visual, whatever. Okay, just don't make me spin around.
yeah. It's very unsettling because like you said, eh, interesting enough, your vagus nerve
Mhm.
goes next alongside to your vestibular nerve, and so when you're anxious, you're dizzy. When you're dizzy, you're
Yeah,
anxious. Like it's like a loop. So it's a very hard symptom to deal with for sure. Lauren, what about, are there any foods that trigger you? I know you mentioned a little about the soy sauce and the Asian food, but is there anything else that you notice that is like an instant no?
I'm trying to figure that out still because like I right away cut out everything dairy, like anything you think dairy, gluten, whatever,
Sweet.
all the things that you're not supposed to eat. Like
Yeah.
just everything. I actually lost like 40 pounds since this whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But as far as food goes, I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm thinking, okay, this might really stink. Maybe beans. I eat a lot of beans. A lot of chickpeas. I love hummus, so I eat hummus all the time, and it's like iffy that it can or cannot. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, but I had this dressing the other day with like it had like a bunch of different balsamic something in it, and like I just use like oil on my dressing because I'm scared to kind of eat
Yeah.
some, you
Yeah.
know. And I was like, all right, and like I ate it, and then a couple hours later, I actually had like for the first time, like I felt a migraine on my head, like a migraine. Like I get it in the back and the top here and there. Actually felt like all of a sudden like this adrenaline rush like through
Yeah.
my. I was like, what is this? And I guess that was. And then like my lips started feeling a little numb. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And then the
Yeah.
headache happened. And I was like, oh my God, it's the food. So
Yeah.
definitely our food triggers. I'm just trying to figure out which ones there are.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
Trying and like I'm probably gonna get like a food sensitivity test with someone, like because I'm done playing this game. And maybe avocados and maybe tomatoes.
yeah. Yeah. And again, it's like the medication. It's very unique for everybody. Some
Oh,
people are perfectly fine eating yogurt, or other ones eat yogurt and it bam triggers right away. So
yeah.
it's very.
Oh, nuts. I think maybe nuts because I'm not sure, but when I had a really, really, really bad episode in January when this like just I had this weird shake thing. My boyfriend's like, "Oh, take this." I'm like, "I'm not taking this. There's not good stuff in here." I don't know. I'm scared to
Yeah.
have that.
No, I know, I know. I had a point where I was eating basically just grass and water. That's it. I cut everything else too, and it was so hard.
But I'm trying to eat like more normal now. Like I had a burger the other day and felt fantastic. I was like, "This is this."
Even with the cheese, like the cheese you were
Yeah,
cook.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was fun. But had the cheese like a couple months ago and it was not fine. So I guess it just depends.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're right. Now, Lauren, what would you like to say? I know that we've all been through this dark tunnel, which is very dark and it takes us to a very dark place. But we kind of, and I can see it in you, in the sparkle in your eye, that you're kind of coming out of that dark tunnel. What would you like to say to the people that are just starting their journey and they are basically scared. They feel alone. They feel like no one understands them.
It will get better. And you always have to remember that every day, like, it will never be as bad as the first day. Like, you got through that one day, that when that is the worst day, and this is a journey. And I believe that it doesn't matter really what your faith is on this, but I think that God doesn't give his battle, like, gives these strong battles to people, and you can conquer it, and you will get through it, and you are so much more resilient and stronger than you think that you are. And if you get every day, like, you have a bad day, you're going through this, you don't know what's going on, and you go to sleep at night, you made it through the day. You did it.
Yeah,
And you did it. You did it. It's another day and another day and another day. And that's what
yeah,
I
no,
have when the days when I'm laying here and I'm rocking and I'm looking at the wall and I'm like, well, it's another day and and I'm here,
uh,
and it will get better. But you have to continue to you have to believe it, though. Like, you have
yeah,
to truly believe in your heart, like, that this is just a part of you right now, but this isn't you. Like, this is, it's a part of who you are and what you're dealing with, but it is not you. It isn't. It's like vestibular migraine is not defining Lauren. It's just a little part of you and your journey. But you just gotta have hope and
yeah.
faith.
I agree. I agree with you. Something that I noticed with you and me is that I call you my beautiful twinsy on Instagram because we're both Pisces. We're
Yes.
we both have these crazy symptoms. We're both charismatic. We're both very empaths. Like
Yes.
we're very we're very caring, and we put on a tough image, but in reality we're very sensitive to the world around us, to people that get hurt around us, to animals around us, to everything around us. We absorb that energy. So I call you my beautiful twinsy because I relate so much to you. But plus you're beautiful and we're both awesome, so so that's good. But what else have you noticed in the vestibular community, because you now expanded your network so hugely in Instagram? What have you noticed that we have in common with all these other people besides the symptoms, of course? But what have you noticed about the community itself?
The community itself is just so accepting. Like, when all of a sudden, I did hashtag dizzy whatever, and there's all these people coming up. I was like, whoa. And you were the first person that reached out to me, and I was like, you doing that was amazing. I was like, there's someone out here that doesn't know me, that no, but knows what I'm dealing with. So it's like, I feel like this community is very just everyone, in a sense, wants to help each other, even if they're still struggling. Like, I'm helping people and I'm still dealing with it. Like, and I think that it's just, this dizzy community is just very accepting, and just really just, they get it. Everyone gets it.
Yeah,
Not every same, but we all get each other, that that we've gone through this thing that normal, not that people just don't really understand, because it's
yeah,
like, huh, what, you get a
yeah.
headache, you get
I,
you're dizzy, oh, like, no, man, it's more than that.
yeah, I know. I get people that tell me, "Oh, yeah, I get dizzy sometimes." I'm like, "No, you don't get it." I'm like, "Thank you for trying to
I'm
relate,
like,
but you have no idea."
I can't do. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, Lauren, what does the future hold for Lauren?
Future holds good things. I'm trying to figure out what they are. I do have a vision board behind me.
Good, good.
Um, so we'll see. I think this journey. I definitely really want to help people. Um, I started writing a book a little bit about this. I
Nice.
write, so I'm sure once the laziness comes out of me. That will come out one day. So that's the goal.
That's good.
But yeah, I don't, as far as, I do my radio thing and, full-time job, we'll see what happens. I would love to work for myself, so we'll figure out how that will happen eventually. So
I
that's
believe you can.
really
I
where.
believe you can. Yeah. Lauren, where can people find you if they like to learn more about you?
So on Instagram, I'm LCUYOU
Yeah.
next Tuesday. So LCYOUNEXTUESDAY. Or you aren'tonair.com and you'll see my Facebook, my Instagram and Twitter, and you can click that way too. That's probably easier, but yeah, I just had to explain my username.
Okay. I'll see you next Tuesday. Has to do with your radio job, right?
Yeah, well, just LC next Tuesday. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny. Like my initials are LC, and I don't know, just
Just
swag.
like Tuesdays? Sure. No, sounds good. Lauren, as you know, this channel is called Find Your Chappiness, which means find your happiness. How does Lauren find her chappiness?
How do I find my happiness? By just appreciating every day and, you know, being grateful for what I do have and knowing that, every month or a year from now, life will get better and there's ups and there's downs, but to stay hopeful and to stay grateful and to appreciate the little things in life, whether it's just having a cup of tea and listening to an audiobook or, you know, just something very simple. It doesn't have to be the most spontaneous day. It's the little things in life and the people that, are by your side and stick by you that, that gives me joy and happiness. And of course, music does too, because without that, there's a lot of songs that have really helped me through this journey. So,
I agree. Well, Lauren, it's been an absolute pleasure. You have such a beautiful energy about you that if I could reach my hand through the computer, I'll give you a huge hug right now.
oh, here's a hug.
Thank
Well,
you.
one day we'll have to meet and it'll be fun.
Yes, I know you will.
I'll be
Awesome.
road tripping.
We'll be yes, and maybe we can go kayaking together. So we'll be dizzy together on a boat.
God, I'll be super, but we can do it.
Awesome, Lauren. All right. Well, thank you so much for chatting with all of us, and we'll talk soon.
All right. It was great. Nice to meet you finally.
Yeah, ciao.
Bye.